Cuba had traditionally been totally in the US sphere of influence in the first half of the 20th century. Military interventions, plot amendments, Batista regime. Although the US government of Eisenhower did not intervene in the rebel movement and war in the 1950s led by Fidel Castro, things changed quickly with the new Castro government of 1959. That government began a series of economic and social reforms, which included seizing some private property, provoking fear and hostility in Washington. Relations between Washington and Havana quickly became worse in 1960 and 1961 when Castro publicly turned to the USSR for help and declared his country and regime to be socialist. As the Soviets began to send aid, including weapons, to Castro, Eisenhower and later Kennedy began to plan for Castro's elimination. Thousands of Cuban exiles were sent to invade Cuba at the Bay of Pigs in 1961, ending in total failure. Castro's reaction was to move even closer to the Soviets, resulting in the placing of Soviet nuclear missiles on the island. Kennedy ordered the US Navy to stop Soviet ships headed for Cuba and imposed a blockade in October 1962. This Cuban missile crisis ended peacefully when the Soviets agreed to take out their missiles and the US promised not to invade Cuba. Fidel Castro survived more than 634 attempts of assassinations. One of the famous ones are the exploding cigar, in which the cigar would explode when chewed. Also, another one would be the poison pen, which would contain a needle that would poison Fidel Castro. In the 1970s and early 1980s, Cuba's role in the Cold War consisted of its armed intervention in African wars, helping Marxist governments in Angola, Namibia, and Ethiopia. This intervention lasted only a few years, ending with the Cuban withdrawal. Finally, the close relationship between Russia and Cuba ended in 1989 and 1990 with the collapse of communism and the Soviet Union. Interesting facts about this: Cubans wanted revenge against US for trying to kill Fidel Castro. Some people think they got their revenge when President Kennedy was killed in 1963. Also, American agents tried to poison Fidel to make his bird fall out. Well, not successful.